And thanks for joining us for another Cardinals Nest on HBC Channel 25. Dean Beckman along with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau. This is the show here on HBC where we talk about St. Mary's University athletics and a lot of other events going on the St. Mary's campus here in town. And Donny, one of those other events, it's an annual treat. It's an annual trick-or-treat, as a matter of fact. It's the Haunted Forest, and that's coming up October 21st. October 22nd, and then again October 29th through the 31st. We'll have Jen Miller on the program. Jen is our softball coach at St. Mary's, but also heads up the Haunted Forest.
Yeah, it's been a great fundraiser for the softball team, and interesting, we were talking off camera to Jen, and this is the 13th year that they've had the Haunted Forest, and she's been involved in 12 of those, so it'll be interesting to kind of see how it's progressed and how it's grown, and maybe she can fill us in on some of the treats that they have in store for us this year.
Yeah, it's always a good time, always fun, and it's a family event, so we'll encourage you to attend, and we'll learn more about it coming up in just a few minutes here on the Cardinals Nest. But first, we'll review the past week in St. Mary's sports. And Donny, we begin with volleyball action, and the volleyball team, one of the most exciting teams to watch on the St. Mary's campus right now. So many close matches throughout the season. A winning record as well. They're 13-9, though they have struggled a little bit in conference action, and right now they're kind of in the thick of their conference schedule. And such a young team this year for St. Mary's, things just coming out on the short end so far during conference play.
Yeah, one of the things you have to look at in terms of as you look at the St. Mary's record and whatnot is the teams that they've played already, that they've already faced. You look at last weekend, we had St. Benedict and Concordia, both of them tied for first in the conference at 5-1. Now Wednesday night, as we're taping, they play Bethel, again, another team that's at the top of the conference. So, you know, the teams that they're playing right now are all the top teams in the league, and like you said, unfortunately, they're not coming through with the wins. Some exciting matches, some awesome performances. It's just that they're not able to put everything together. The match last Friday against St. Benedict was a fantastic match that they lost 3-1, but you know, a great battle throughout each of the four sets. And then against Concordia, Concordia is the ninth-ranked team in the country right now, and St. Mary's, gave them everything they could handle, but still came out on the short end of a 3-0 decision.
Yeah, and of course, the Cardinals without Amy Kuyak, their senior and their middle hitter, and she was such a terrific player, out with an ACL injury. She's had surgery now, so she's on the path to recovery, but unfortunately, this is her senior year. They had a very nice send-off for her and Erica Hurley last Wednesday night against St. Benedict, and so it was nice. They let her step out on the floor to let her officially be in the lineup, and then substituted for her right away. But I thought that was a nice send-off, especially for Amy, and kind of gave the Cardinals a little bit of an emotional lift in that game against St. Benedict. As you said, they're at the top of the conference, and what a matchup that was. Even though the Cardinals lost 3-1, they played well, and St. Benedict, for as young as they are going to be good for a really long time. They looked fabulous.
Yeah, they were a very good team, and I thought you really hit it on the head there with senior night when Coach Lester put Amy into the starting lineup. It was a great gesture and truly deserving for Amy. She's been a mainstay on the Cardinal roster for the past 4 years, and for her to get injured in her senior year was really unfortunate. But I thought that was a really classy move by Coach Lester to put her in the starting lineup, and I think it was really neat that the fans certainly appreciated Amy and what she's given to this program. Standing ovation for her as they introduced her. So it was really a neat thing, and unfortunately they weren't able to get her a W on senior night.
Well, and the thing with that St. Benedict matchup, all of the games were so close. I mean, they were back and forth. Neither team ever had a big lead in any of the sets. Just happened to go St. Benedict's way. And then in the next contest, they went out and lost 3-0. So I think a little bit of a setback after that St. Benedict
yeah, no question.
Set. There
was certainly some letdown. And if you think about it, you've got a really hard-fought match that you play Friday night. You get done about 9 o'clock, 9:30. By the time they get back to their dorms and whatnot and get to bed, it's probably closing in on midnight. And then you turn around and you play a 3 o'clock in the afternoon match the following day. So that certainly has some effect on how you play. And like I said before, Concordia is a fantastic team, ranked number 9 in the country. So you're going to have to be at your best to beat a team like that. and unfortunately they were, St. Mary's was good. They just weren't nearly at the level that they needed to be to compete with the Cobbers.
And for a while, Lexi Simos had been setting up Kara Grant primarily for the Cardinals, and still is doing so. But they're also going a little bit more and more to Sabrina Bushlack. The junior has really stepped up this year with Amy's absence, and she's seeing a lot of action, too, in the kill department.
Absolutely. You talk about some people that maybe that we don't speak a lot about. Bree Bushlack is one of them. Kathy Rennie's another. Erica Hurley, the other senior, is another. That they have specific roles that they need to play, and all three are doing phenomenal jobs. And Bree had 9 kills against Concordia to lead the way, had a great match, and really is playing some very solid volleyball, as is Kathy Rennie. She's one of those that Coach Lester is looking for to do a number of different things, and is really coming through on a high note and doing a great job. And Erica has been solid all season. She's one of the top dig leaders on the team, and is doing a great job from her senior position as a leader. And so her and Amy are going to be missed next year when they graduate after this season. But a lot of the younger ladies are getting a lot of experience and kind of finding out what it's like to be in the MIAC, and hopefully that experience will carry over and just continue to grow from next year on.
I think another player who might be a little underappreciated is Tara Rasmussen. I've seen her make some pancake digs this year, and they're just fantastic.
Yeah, Tara's done a great job all season, and you get that libero position, and she fits it just perfectly. Is a very good passer, and as you say, an outstanding person to create digs, and is doing a really nice job. And she's one of those that's come up through the ranks. This is her 3rd season on the team, and you can tell from the time they're freshmen to the time they're juniors and seniors that experience and that just the confidence that they play with is certainly much more so as a junior and senior than it is when they come in as freshmen.
And they're at the North Central College Invitational in Illinois this weekend, and their tournaments have gone very well. 3-1, I think, in almost all the tournaments.
I think if we talk next week, it'll be that they finished 3-1 again. They've been in 4 tournaments thus far, and every one of them they've been 3-1 in. So I'm sure Coach Lester would love to come back with another 3-1 performance this weekend, although I'm sure 4-0 would make him feel even that much better.
It absolutely would. Let's turn our attention now to women's soccer action. And Donnie, there was a stretch of games, 6 games in a row the Cardinals went without scoring a goal. The other night, though, they finally get a goal, but then lose a multiple overtime match, kind of a heartbreaker again for the Cardinals. Thought they might have had one, but it slipped away.
Yeah, talking to Coach Cassidy after that game against Hamlin, they lost in double overtime, and he's just shaking his head. It was one of those games that they played, probably one of their best games that they've played all season. They fell behind, but never hung their heads, didn't get down. They came back. They got a goal from Amanda Rahman on a penalty kick in the second half to tie it up. It looked like they had the game won with about 10 minutes left when Amanda had a direct kick that the goalkeeper got her hands on and pushed it up into the crossbar, and rather than go from the crossbar into the net, it went right back into the goalkeeper's hands. And unfortunately, in the second overtime, Hamlin did the exact same thing, only the ball went from the crossbar into the net for the game winner. So Coach Cassidy's just kind of shaking his head going, what do we need to do to get a win? Because right now they're playing some very solid soccer. The Hamlin game was a great game. They played very well, and certainly was a game that at worst they should have probably tied, and at best they probably should have won.
Yeah, well, and even in that stretch of 6 games where they went without scoring, the worst loss was 3-0. I mean, so they are in all of these games. They've just got to try to generate a little more offense.
Yeah, no question. And I think that's just starting to show you the loss of Amy Sibick. When Amy graduated last year, all-time leading scorer, one of the all-time leading scorers in Cardinal history, led the team in scoring in the 4 years that she was there. When you have to replace that person, that go-to person, that the ladies, they could get the ball on Amy's foot and she was going to take the shot and she was going to put it in the back of the net. Right now they don't have that person, that go-to person that they can rely on to put the ball in the back of the net. Amanda Rahman's got 3 goals this year, and Terry Valenzuela's got 2, and other than that, those are their go-to people. So they need to find that person that they can rely on to put the ball in the net, and until they can find that solid scorer, the 1-0 games are going to be the norm for them.
Yeah. And then in men's soccer, Donnie, the last time you and I talked, or since we have last talked, the Cardinals have gone out and defeated Concordia College. So their record now 2-8-1, but after that Concordia win, they lost to Wisconsin Superior and Hamlin, both very close games, but again, not enough goals in those two.
Yeah, it's it's the same thing that we talked about on the women's side, in that offensively they're just not generating the kind of offense they want to. It was great to see them get that 3-2 win over Concordia, but then they turn around and lose 2-0 to Superior and then 2-1 to Hamlin last Saturday. And I talked to Coach Watkins after that Hamlin game, and it was one of those that they played a very good first half. Unfortunately, Hamlin came out in the start of the second half and scored less than a minute into the half to go up 1-0. They score another goal, and all of a sudden it's a 2-0 deficit, and they just didn't have enough firepower to dig out of a 2-goal hole. And like we talked about with the women, they need to be able to generate some offense, and really they need to find a way to play from in front rather than always trying to come from behind. And right now, trying to dig out of a 2-goal hole was extremely difficult against a team as talented as as talented as Hamlin. So they need to do a better job of getting the lead and then battling. You've got a great goalkeeper in Chris Williams back there. I think if you can get the lead, Chris is going to help you maintain that lead.
Yeah, the best thing about that Concordia win too was that was at Moorhead. You and I have talked. If you're going to go that far, you may as well go to win.
Absolutely, it's got to be a very fun bus ride home.
Easy to say, tough to do.
That's right, exactly.
And there you see the men's MIAC soccer standings right now. Carleton and Gustavus at the top of the conference right now, and of course Carleton is coming up next for the St. Mary's men.
Yeah, as we're taping right now, the women will host Carleton and the men will go to Carleton. Kind of a neat thing about the women's game here at home against Carleton is that, for those that don't know or may not remember, is that Coach Cassidy was the assistant coach for the last 5 years at Carleton before he took the job here at St. Mary's. So it'll be a bit of a homecoming. Hopefully the knowledge that he has about the Knights and what they do will pay off as they square off against them. Now, obviously, Carleton is the defending women's conference champions, so they're going to be a formidable foe for the women. And as you look there, the Carleton men are at the top of the standings on the men's side. So it's going to be a tough Wednesday night for both soccer teams. It's going to be a very tough competition.
Yeah,
on
rain in the
Wednesday night.
forecast. Sometimes that can be a neutralizer, so we'll see how that
Absolutely.
pans out. All right, and then in cross-country action, both the women and men, Donnie, last weekend were at Waverly, Iowa for the Dan Houston Invitational. And on the men's side, Aaron Haley stepping out of the shadows of David Feather and Peter Borash a little bit to take first for the St. Mary's men.
Yeah, and I think what that does is it really shows the depth that Coach Barron has on the men's side. We seem to talk every time we do the Nest about David Feather and about Peter Borash, but you got Jake Traxler and Aaron Haley right there who are continuing to give them that depth in the 3 and 4 spots. And for Aaron to come up and put together a performance like he did was really outstanding. I know Coach Barron was extremely excited about it. He knew that Aaron had that potential, but to actually see him bring it out in a competitive invitational like that, he was very happy to see that. And it certainly takes some of that pressure off of David and Peter, that they don't have to be at the very, very top of their game every single race, because they've got some people that can help out as they're battling for team points.
Well, and Aaron, of course, comes from the Plainview Elgin Millville program. They have a very strong cross-country program. In fact, they just had their invitational this past week and duked it out with Cotter, where I think Cotter ended up in second place.
Yeah,
there.
Plainview's got a great program, a great tradition in cross-country, and Aaron's going to be a solid fit here at St. Mary's for 4 years, and I think that he's really probably even a little bit ahead of where Coach Barron expected him to be at this stage in his career. I think he's going to be one we're going to be talking about quite a bit for the next 4 years.
Another runner for the Cardinals men, Donnie, and it's a name that is very familiar at St. Mary's, and that's John Souchere. He continues to improve this year as well.
Yeah, and we talk about that depth, and John had a solid race at the Dan Houston, and he continues to improve. Last year he was getting his feet wet a little bit, and I think that you talk a little bit about that confidence level, and John has been running outstanding all season, and really provides that. He and Jake and Aaron provide that much needed depth, because you can't just rely on David and Peter to carry the load, because you need those 5 scores. And when you've got John running the way he is as the 5th guy, that's just outstanding. And he's been doing a phenomenal job and continues to improve with every race that he's in.
And then on the women's side of things, Amy Spitzmuller, a name we've talked quite a bit about here on the Cardinals Nest. She finished first for the Cardinal women.
Yeah, and as you talk about that depth, Coach Barrett is still looking for that on the women's side. Every race thus far, it's been Amy Spitzmuller or Kristen Thalen in first, and the other one in second. So he needs some more of that depth, and actually the depth he needs some of those times to improve. They're not quite where they need to be if they're going to make any kind of a push in the conference. So hopefully those times will continue to improve as they head this weekend to the Jim Drews Torrey Neubauer Invitationals hosted by Lacrosse in West Salem. And it's one more tune-up as they get ready for the end of October and the MIAC Championships.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting as we move on, and soon we'll have Jen Miller on the program to talk about the Haunted Forest here on the Cardinals Nest, but the fall seasons are really winding down. I mean, soon it'll be the conference championships for cross country, and now the winter sports, Donnie, are starting to fire up. Practices for most of the winter sports officially start next week.
Yeah, it's really hard to believe. As we're taping this, there's 17 days left in October until winter sports officially start their first competitions and fall sports end. So it's we're well past the midway point in the season. You look at volleyball. Tonight's match, Wednesday night, is the final home match of the season for them, and so yeah, everything is starting to wind down a little bit. The conference races are heating up, and we're still in the hunt. I was talking to Coach Watkins, and they're still right there. You pick up a couple of wins here in the next week or so, and all of a sudden those last 2 weeks of the season are very, very important. So there's still a lot to play for, and as these guys are starting to think about conference races and positioning, you've got the two hockey teams and the two basketball teams thinking about, let's get on the court, let's get on the ice and start practicing, because on Saturday it starts for real, and then at the end of October the two hockey teams will kick off their seasons. The men will be up in Blaine for the MIAC Showcase, and then the women will be over in Lake Forest. Yeah. So it's the end of the month is here. When it's here, you've got everybody playing at the same time.
Donnie, real quick, tell us the difference between captain's practice and then regular practice, because I know for hockey anyway, they've been having captain's practice the last few weeks.
Well, it's real simple in that the title is exactly what it is. A captain's practice is run by the captains of the team. Coaches can have absolutely no contact. They can't set up the practices. They can't do anything with it. It's just the captains getting together, organizing a practice that anybody that's going to try out for the team can participate in. And they've been doing that since about the 1st of October. So they've had a couple weeks of that now. Come the 15th of October, the coaches get their hands on them, and then it's then the coaches can do anything they want in terms of lifting, practice, anything like that. Then they can have contact with those student athletes.
Yeah, well, it's going to be great to have basketball and hockey and swimming and all the winter sports back again at St. Mary's, and it's going to be happening soon, and we'll tell you all about it here on the Cardinals Nest. Okay, stay tuned here to HBC Channel 25. We'll have Jen Miller on next to tell us all about the Haunted Forest coming up soon here in October. That's coming up next on the Cardinals Nest on HBC.
In Antwerp, Belgium, every diamond is unique, each with its own story. Holton's Jewelry offers you the rare opportunity to be a part of that story by traveling halfway across the world to choose your diamond directly from Antwerp's famed diamond cutters. Come in now before we head overseas, and you can secure your own hand-picked diamond from the city that has made diamonds sparkle for centuries. Experience the romance of an Antwerp diamond only at Holton's Jewelry in downtown Winona.
With 32 team cams, 267 Hall of Famers, 45 Super Bowls, and thousands of NFL classics, it all adds up to one network. NFL Network, when all you want is football.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest. Dean Beckman, Donny Nadeau. We're going to talk now about the Haunted Forest at St. Mary's, and we were hoping to have Jen Miller, the softball coach and person who's in charge of heading up the Haunted Forest, here on the program. But Donnie, I don't know, something happened. She's unable to make it. All I know is I'm glad you're sitting there and I'm sitting on this side, because you can see our guest. It's not Jen. It's one of the creatures from the haunted forest.
Actually, I thought that was what you look like in the morning.
Well, that is what I look like in the morning, which is why I called it a hideous creature.
Well,
But
Jen, welcome.
underneath the mask, it is Jen, Jen Miller. But just one of the many treats and tricks that you get in the haunted forest. And we thank Jen for being a good sport here on the show. And really, that's what the haunted forest is all about.
Yep.
The softball players and some of the other teams that help you out a little bit, they're good sports, and you rely on good sportsmanship from those going through the forest, right?
Yes, definitely do. So we try to make it a great experience for community members to come out, kids, families, and college kids come out as well. So we try to make it just a nice activity to do around Halloween. There's not too much around the Winona area. A couple things in Lewiston, a couple things on La Crosse, but so you don't have to drive too far.
Well, you know, I really think it's one of the better family-oriented Halloween activities. I mean, this is not just for adults, and one of the things that you do, Jen, and maybe you can describe how you do it, and is you try to determine the fear level of the group, partly based on age, maybe partly based on expressed fears, and try to make sure that everyone has a good experience.
Sure. Yep. So if it's a younger crowd, a group of children, we try to tone it down a little bit so that they don't get too scared or go home with nightmares. If it's an older crowd, we try to find out some names and try to yell their names throughout the forest as they're walking through. And then they're wondering how we know their names and stuff like that.
Right.
So we try to tone it to what age level, what fear level the groups are.
And you know, just to give viewers some general guideline, I've had different kids go through there, my own, and what I usually recommend to people is, you know, 7 to 8 years old is probably pretty good, depending on their personality,
Yep,
of course.
definitely. So we'll say that's probably about the right age. Middle schoolers, high schoolers are probably the best, just because that's something to look forward to for them. Depending on the younger children, fear level, that type of thing. You don't want them to send them home in tears and not wanting to ever come back.
I
So.
mean, it is a scary setting. I mean, it's in the back of St. Mary's, it's in the Bluffs, and you follow a trail. And you know, you reenact some different scenes for movies, and different things pop out here and there. But it's a good time. And Donnie, I know you've been through it.
I have been through it. Jen, I was going to ask you. Now, you know, I mentioned that it's been going on for 13 years. You've been involved in it for 12, 4 as a player, as an assistant coach, and now as the head coach. Can you just give a little history of the event, how it started, and really how it's progressed to where it is now?
Yep. It started when I was a senior in high school. John Cheetah, the former coach here, he started it. I actually walked through it that year, so I've actually been to it every single year it's been in existence. But it kind of progressed. We needed a fundraiser as a softball program to go on some of our trips that we go on. So we started doing it then. I'd say it's progressed by just the number of costumes we own, the different props that we set up. We build a bunch of stuff. So I think it's gotten scarier every year. We try to put a little technology into it, that sort of thing. So I think it gets better. We come up with better ideas every year. I think we try to make it scarier. We recycle a couple ideas every 5-6 years. But so I think it's great. I think it's improved to where the people running it love to do it. It's a great team building, and also the community, I think, loves it, looking forward to it every year.
I think one of the things that I've found in the 12 years is that it's different every year. It's not the same. It's the haunted forest every year, but things in it are different every year.
Yep. We sit down and we start planning October 1st, right when fall ball's over. We start coming up with ideas, trying to make it different every year so that people keep coming back. If you do the same thing, people wouldn't come back year after year. So if we can change it, make it better, come up with some different ideas. Also with the freshmen coming in, they have some good ideas that they think will work, so we try to give them a little leadership opportunities by coming up with some ideas, building some props, that type of thing.
How many of the freshmen, as they come in, have heard about working and doing the haunted forest?
I think every freshman that we recruit knows about it because we tell them when we're recruiting them, hey, this is what we're doing. This is our biggest fundraiser. You'll love it. It's a good time. So they all know coming in. They come in with ideas and get excited for it as well. So, so everyone that's every freshman that is recruited knows about it.
Jen, in your 12 years, and I know you don't want to give away too many secrets about what people see in the haunted forest, but what has been your favorite scene or prop or event in the haunted forest over 12 years?
My favorite thing is probably the music adds a little bit of a flair to it. People talking on the microphone just because they can hear it throughout. I think the best thing that's happened in past years is I've been buying bigger and better costumes. So the bigger they are, the more flashier, the more scary are, the better it is. So I think that's probably the best thing that's come out of it in the last couple of years.
Well, and what I like about the music, you hear it, as you said, throughout the campus. And so everyone knows it's going on, and it kind of makes the whole campus a little creepy, quite frankly.
Definitely. Yep.
But we saw the dates there for the Haunted Forest, and again, it's the 21st and the 22nd of October from 7 to 10 p.m., and then again, October 29th through the 31st. So you've got a good 3-hour window. It's dark, and you pretty much do this rain or shine, or are there times if it's raining pretty hard you might have to cancel?
Sure. If it's raining pretty hard, we normally cancel due to the electrical that we use, as well as people slipping on the the wet, muddy areas. We don't want anyone to hurt themselves coming out. So those would be the main reasons. We try to cancel enough time, get the word out as much as we can.
Right. And the other thing, too, people going through this, is it's recommended that you be fairly fleet afoot, because it can get a little slippery, and, there's some hills to climb and things like that.
The main thing is the stairs at the end, which we actually put in new stairs this year. So new stairs and a railing at the end. So if you've come in the past, that's an improvement we made to make it a little bit easier to climb the stairs at the end. So that will definitely be a plus to the walk this year.
And of course, this is a fundraiser for the softball team, as Jen said, their biggest fundraiser, and it often will go to support your spring trip that you take back to Arizona this year or someplace else.
We're actually going to Florida.
So
we'll go to Claremont, Florida this year, NTC games. It's a new tournament that we haven't been to. We're just trying to see what other tournaments are out in the nation. So we're going to try down there, see how it goes, and then possibly go back to Arizona next year. Not sure yet.
Talk a little bit about the difference for you when you worked the Haunted Forest as a player, and now as the not only the organizer, but also still a big part in the production of the Haunted Forest. Is there a big difference?
Not a difference for being part of the forest. If you're part of the forest, you're still doing the scaring. You're still trying to find ways to get people in the mood of Halloween. From the other point of putting it together, it's a little bit more work, buying the props, putting them together. I do a lot of the building myself and the painting, so that'd be the main difference. Otherwise, the theme is the same. If you're a student or as the coach, you're still trying to scare. I still sit in the forest because I love it, and I love scaring people. So I'm still in the middle of it and get going that way.
Now, do some other teams help you? I mean, it's a big time commitment for these players, and the whole softball team probably can't do it by itself.
Yep. Every year it ends up being probably a different team. This year women's hockey will be helping us. So last year baseball, we've had basketball help us in the past. So women's hockey will be helping us this year.
Jen, just a minute left here in this segment. You mentioned fall ball ending on October 1st. How did fall ball go this year? I know I caught a little bit of that red-white scrimmage on Parents' Weekend.
Yep. I thought fall ball went well. We got a good group of first-year players with us this year. I think will help us out. We graduated a great group of seniors last year, highly talented, and we knew we had to replace them with some quality athletes, and I feel like we brought in that quality group of kids. So I'm looking forward to good things in the spring. I think that we'll put something together.
Are you sure you graduated them? Because I keep seeing them around campus. I'm not sure if they're really graduated, but they won't be on the roster.
They won't be on the roster, but
you've got Katie and Joanna and Kelly are all helping you out, right?
They're all helping
in some
me out.
aspect or another?
Yep, they're all coaching with me as of the fall ball. They helped. We'll see who's around in the spring depending on their class schedules and work schedules. So it's great to have them back. A lot of experience there.
All right. Jen Miller and her friend there from the Haunted Forest. Donnie's afraid of clowns, too, so I'm proud of Donnie sitting here the whole time. But it's the Walk of Horror.
All the time. What are you talking about?
Walk of Horror, the Haunted Forest, going on October 21st and 22nd, and then the 29th through the 31st. It's right between the baseball and softball fields when you come into the main part of the St. Mary's campus. You can't miss it. You can park in the parking lot just beyond the baseball field and then walk to the starting line there for the Walk of Horror. All right, Jen Miller, thanks again for being on the show, and that's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest. Thanks for watching here on HBC Channel 25.